Hi, welcome to the channel and thanks for joining me. I've got a couple of really exciting guitars today for you. They're actually handmade guitars by a chap called Felix Byrne, close to me in Wiltshire, England. Now, these guitars really are quite unique actually, and you'll get to see that shortly when we take a close-up look at them. But I'm not sponsored by Felix today. I'll just let you know that I was so impressed on a recent walk around a local town that featured a couple of his guitars that when I tried them, I then went to contact Felix and said, is there any chance I could actually take a closer look, give them an independent review, give them a bit of screen time and see how they perform? And I'm delighted to say that he was kind enough to let me have a tour of his facility where he designs and makes the guitars, and he's lent me a couple to play for you today. So we'll take a closer look shortly, but first a very quick overview. On one hand, we've got some really expensive, exquisite tone wood type guitars that cost thousands and thousands of pounds. And on the other hand, we say, well, we're keen on recycling and we don't want to throw anything away. And we've got all these CITES regulations on expensive timbers and that kind of thing. So what Felix has done is said, well, hang on a minute. We make so many guitars across the planet and we throw away so much material. Why don't we take reclaimed old doors, furniture, etc., and actually make some beautifully made guitars from them? So with that in mind, he's taken a unique concept, I think, to designing each part of the guitar, and he features acoustic guitars, electro-acoustic guitars, and I want to show you some of them now a bit closer up. So I'll put some timestamps in. So the first part will be a proper close look up at the guitars, and then a bit later on we'll play them. So I've got two basically today. One is a more regular full-size guitar, which is the one behind me actually, and then we've got the slimmer prototype here today, and sneak preview. These are funky guitars, so let's go and have a look now. Well, hello everyone and welcome to the wonderful world of Felix Byrne guitars. Now, before I go on and play these, I wanted to give you a quick overview of the guitar itself, just because it's such an interesting beastie. I wanted to give you an overview of the kind of design and engineering that's involved in these wonderful guitars. So this particular one is, I'll just put this here, is the Felix Acousto Electric. No prizes probably for guessing what that is, except to say that each guitar has its own QR code to take you to that specific model, but inside, and it's very modular, this guitar, which you'll come to see in a moment, but there must be probably 20 if not more individually signed steps in there as part of the QA for every single component that's made for this guitar, which is something I've never seen the likes of before. But anyway, let's start at the headstock. The first thing you might notice is there's no branding or names at all on there. And when I spoke to Felix about this, he said, well, the guitar is so interesting and different in its design and execution that the guitar is the brand. There's nothing like it. And that's quite a brave statement to make, but actually I'd be inclined to agree. It's completely different to the ethos that Fender took with CBS in the 70s, for example, with the large headstock so you could see the massive Fender logo on there. Felix has gone the other way and said, no, the guitar's so quirky that you can kind of recognise what it is straight away. So without further ado, we'll have a closer look at it, and you can see that the headstock is actually made as one component part, if you like. You can see the aluminium sections through there and the laminate face, for example. Now, this interesting piece here is actually effectively the neck spine, if you will. It's made from like an aluminium box section that's machined for various purposes along its length. And what's quite cool as well is the nut is actually, if we can get that to focus, the nut is actually affixed to the end of the neck, which you really don't see very often at all. But that also means you can reverse this for left-handed guitars as well if required. So moving down the neck, we'll see that there are a few dot markers along the length, but not on the face. And as Felix said, well, you don't look at them anyway, really, when you're playing, not on the front. So why add the extra time and expense to the process of producing a guitar for something that's effectively superfluous? So moving on to the back of the neck. Now, this was when I first saw a Felix Byrne guitar. I was really quite intrigued and amazed by this. it's actually made from recycled parts, remnants perhaps from kitchen installations, old pieces of doors and things like that. And there's a quadrant style design to the neck which you can't really see on the camera, but what it means is that there isn't an actual radius that you would expect on a regular guitar, and that you'd think would be quite cumbersome to start with, but actually it's surprisingly comfortable. And as Felix himself said, when you're playing, you get to rest your thumb on the flat part, which is quite nice. So that's really unique, or at least I've never seen anything like that before on a guitar neck. So moving through to the body, this particular top has been is laminated with strips of different timbers, offcuts from all sorts of old places. He keeps a nice little stash of timbers to make his own tops, and even makes them now from laminated Wenger or all sorts of bits and pieces. So really interesting design. And the sides, believe it or not, are actually made from hardboard, I should say, which you would think would be quite a cheap material, and in fact I suppose it is. But the way it's formed and treated means that it's as hard wearing and as interesting and elegant as many other materials, in fact, but much more responsibly sort of sourced in terms of the environmental impact on making guitars. So in terms of the design, this is a traditional waist. He also does offer one that's got a different shape. I might be able to find a photo of the other one, which is slightly more labour intensive, but a possible option. And then the backs are formed with a slight arch, and you can see, you might be able to read that on there, that there's a slight arch to the back of the guitar, and this is made from, I think, Formica or some kind of kitchen type material. Very minimal bracing in here. He only really uses bracing where it's required, which keeps it super light and super resonant. There is a beautifully made little cage, if you like, in terms of the neck support, which is the primary part of the bracing on the guitar. And it reminds me of a bird skeleton, actually. It was very light, very elegant, and just strong enough in all the right places to be able to do what it needs to do. So here we can see the pickup, which I think was originally based on a P90, if I remember correctly. They're hand wound. These ones are designed by Felix and hand wound with screw ends instead of solder ends, to allow maintenance and repair of any coils if required. And you'll see that also allows him to match the material for the pickup cover to the neck and indeed to the bridge. And when we move on to the bridge, which is adjustable, you'll see that there is a metal plate running through there and 3 stainless steel screws for adjustment as well. And that allows the strings to be individually earthed through the bridge, to obviously help eliminate any hum and for safety as well, of course. So that's a nice little touch. In terms of the electronics, very simple. We've got a new trick jack there, so super high quality, and just one volume control, no tone control on this one, just a 250k pot. And I have to say, the resistance on that part really is lovely. It's a high quality part, a lovely smooth but firm resistance on that, so that's fantastic. So there we go. That's the sort of regular model, if you like, of the acousto-electric Felix Byrne guitar. And as I say, whatever the top may be, it just depends on what timber he has in, and that will show itself shortly if I show you the other guitar that I have to try today. So I'll just move that one out the way. And this is a prototype now, and this one is a Wenger laminate, and you'll see you'll see all the way through that the material for the headboard, for the headstock, the fretboard, and the guitar itself, including the bridge, is all made from exactly the same material, which looks super cool. And you've got the sound holes just there. And this one is a slightly slimmer body to the previous one we looked at. But just look at this. How absolutely funky is this? So this is the obviously the back of the guitar here, but it allows that laminate to carry on all the way through the back of the neck and indeed into the headstock itself, which is pretty funky. I mean, you look at the front of that and you think, okay, that's a really nice guitar. It's interesting. It's simple. It you know, it looks sleek. It looks beautifully made. And you look at the back and you think, wow, that really is funky. How awesome is that? So it adds a bit of fun, a bit of character to the guitars. And as I say, he's got all sorts of different colours. Depends what stock he's got in of offcuts from kitchens and various places like that. So just to recap, really, Felix's ethos is to say, look, let's just take a proper design look at these guitars, and you know, let's design each part to be functional and easy to make, and easy to quality control, easy to replace or to build. And it's just done a beautiful job, you know, because at the end of the day, guitars, so many guitars are made, and you know, we're in such a push now to keep, you know, for virgin timber, but yet we throw so many materials away. So it's basically saying, you know, Felix says, well, why don't we take the old offcuts or pieces of timber or plastics that we might not use ordinarily and make those into a beautiful guitar. So that's what he's done, and they are quirky, they are unique, they are interesting, they're functional, and just brilliant. So anyway, without further ado, let's plug these in and see if the tone matches the aesthetic. So there we go. What do you think of those then? A really interesting concept. I think the way that Felix has designed the component parts and taken a completely different approach to the guitars is fascinating. I think the sounds are excellent. I like the actual dobro-esque kind of sound, the resonator sound of the slim body guitar, but I also really like the functionality of the deeper bodied guitar in terms of both acoustic and its electrical plugged in performance. I think that'd be great for live use in particular. I think the guitar design is really quirky and innovative, and I like the design concept behind it. And I also think in this day and age that the recyclable element of the guitars is a fantastic bonus. Also, just a quick aside, although they're not marketed as such, they can actually be disassembled relatively easily for transport on planes and things like that. So if you'd like to find out more about them, Felix has a website which I'll put in the description, and also they're available from a guitar shop in Bath called Guitarbitz, so I'll mention those also. So thanks again for watching. I'll be delighted to hear what you think, so let me know your comments, and we'll be back soon. All the best for now. Bye bye.